let's see, it's 5:01. So I think we're probably about ready to start. We'll try to keep these things on time. And we're waiting for a couple of people who have not joined us. So Council Member Sandra Sepulveda is also a member of this committee. And so Sandra is, her district number, I think is, I'm trying to remember, I think it's 30. So she'll be joining us. And then the person who actually designed the question is going to be on this committee, Anna Albescu. And Anna, I think, is working and was going to hop on when she could onto this call. All right. So anyway, I certainly hope everybody's doing well. Thank you all for joining us. One of the reasons we had the meeting tonight was just to introduce ourselves to each other, make sure everybody kind of knew who everybody was, and figure out who we had, because I don't know most of you, but we certainly appreciate you joining on. And we may need to expand our committee because we want it to be diverse, and we need some diversity on this committee, apparently, and that's okay. So we're going to add, we'll probably add some folks to it, and you all may know some people that want to do this. So Adam, can you hear us okay? You're the last person that I need to check with. Are you there?
Thank you. Okay. Yes, I am. Thanks.
All right. All right. So why don't we do this as we're waiting for some other people to hop on, particularly Anna. I'm just going to go around and make sure everybody kind of knows who everybody is. So Jim Shulman, I'm the Vice Mayor of Nashville. And the reason that we are having this committee is that pursuant to the rules of the council, I have the ability to create special committees. We did this last year. We created a series of 8 committees, and I put council members on each of the each one had one of the 8 committees to be on, and they varied from everything from trying to figure out why people in Nashville don't vote as much as they should, to we have a committee on 37208. And here's Anna. She's joining us now. Okay, she's connecting in. So Anna, can you hear us? There she is.
Hi, sorry I'm late.
That's okay. So we just started, and I told them that you were the person that actually helped create this whole question, which I'll go through in just a minute. But pursuant to the rules, the vice mayor can create special committees. So we did 8 of them last year. The one dealing with 37208, which has the highest incarceration rate in the country for a period of time for people who were born between certain dates. That was just kind of one of those things where it stood out and seemed to be terribly unacceptable, that obviously we needed to look at it and try to figure out if there were things that we could do. That committee came out with a report, but continues to meet because there are still many, many things that they need to be working on. So 7 of the 8 committees formulated a report, sent in their recommendations, and moved on. 37208 is still functioning. This time around, there were several issues that came up from citizens. And one of them came from Anna, who worked, and in just a minute, after we kind of go around and introduce ourselves, I'll get Anna to kind of explain how she came up with the question. And then the rest of the meeting tonight, I'm going to find out from you all what you want to know, what type of information you want to get access to, and then a good meeting time. And then we'll start meeting on a regular basis when the new year comes around, which isn't that far away. So what I'd like to do real quick is just go around based upon my screen and get you to introduce yourself, tell us, you know, who you are, what you do, and anything interesting, and then we'll just go through to make sure everybody kind of knows who everybody is, and also tell us what council district you are, if you know that. So Morgan, you're first on my list, so if you can just tell us just quickly a little bit about yourself, that'd be great.
Thank you. My name is Morgan Davis. Fun fact about me, I'm an actor here in Nashville. I've been on all the big stages here and am very excited to be a part of this committee and learn a lot and contribute to yeah.
And what
That's
is your most important role? What would we have seen you on? Or in?
if you have seen productions at the Nashville Repertory Theater or the Nashville Shakespeare Festival, I've been on both stages, and as well as the Nashville Children's Theater and Studio 10. Been doing productions for the past four or 5 years. So anything from Lion the Witch in the Wardrobe to Noises Off. I was in both of those, and
Very good.
yeah, been lovely here in Nashville.
All right. So Ms. McDaniel, who is helping with the production of this thing, is a board member at NCT.
Oh,
Okay.
wonderful.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I did
just
Secret Soldiers this past
very
winter,
cool.
right before the pandemic,
Okay.
about the Civil War.
You're not in Pete the Cat, are you?
No, but
Okay.
many of my good friends are.
Okay. Very good. Okay. Well, welcome. All right.
Thank you.
Betsy Raney, Betsy Brewer Raney.
Yes, I just got married. I am Betsy Raney, and I was born in Nashville. So I've been here. I actually grew up the street from Jim Shulman. So I know his family very well. I am really excited to learn. I've never done a committee like this or been a part of anything like this before. So I'm really excited to just kind of be a sponge and soak up and help in any way that I can, and hopefully continue to better the city that we love.
All right. Thanks, Betsy. Let's see. Jennifer, you're next.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Samardak. I live over in Antioch in District 33. To get paid, I work in healthcare as a product manager for this really spiffy brand new application. So I'm super excited. My background is mental health and social work. That's what I did when I was up in Ohio, and I've been down here for about 6 years. And I'm super, super excited about the ability to dig through data and get some fact-based information. I hate criminalization of communities. I think it's disgusting and gross, and it costs more money to incarcerate someone than it does to actually give them the resources that they need. And I think. So I'm hoping that the data says that, and that we can support legislation that will increase the community structure of Davidson County, as well as keep people out of the prison pipeline.
All right. Thank you, Jennifer. And Jennifer, I think I know, which district are you in? Are you in 15?
33.
Well, I was off by more than half. Okay, 33. All right, thank you.
Yeah, I have a lot of fish in my district. I have a lot of fish.
A lot of fish. Okay.
The Percy Priest. Yeah.
Okay, I got it. All right. Jean Manning, you're next.
Good evening, everybody. Jean Manning. I'm retired clergy from the Episcopal Church, but presently teach at Belmont and also work with the women at Room in the Inn, the homeless women. But of course, right now, that work has been a little bit, it's slowed down because we can't really be around. And before going to seminary, I worked in the alcohol and drug field with adolescents. So between working with people who suffer from homelessness and working in the alcohol and drug field, I've certainly seen my share of what this committee is about. So I look forward to working with y'all. And I guess I'm 25, aren't I, Jim?
I think you are 25, yeah. So I see Jean running quite a bit in my neighborhood. Yes, when I'm trying to run as well, but Jean runs faster than I do.
No.
Yes. All right, Tina, you're next.
Hello, everybody. My name is Tina Potter. I'm a native Tennessean. I grew up in Northeast Tennessee in Johnson City. Moved down here to go to school and have been here, with the exception for 2 years, since 1993. I actually helped my company Aramark start a new line of business in which we buy all of the food for the Pennsylvania Department of Corrections. And we save the state a whole lot of money. They take care of all of the labor, all of the hiring and all of that stuff, but they're also able to take advantage of our bulk buying discounts in food service and those kind of things. And we handle all of their menu planning and we just do all the operations for their food. And so I've been doing that since 2017. And I really know more about the prison world than I ever thought I would know. So a
Well, then
lot
you're
of
on the
people
right
thought I
committee.
would know a lot about the prison system.
Well, you're on the right committee for this one.
Yeah, I'm really,
Um,
really interested.
All right. So Tina, where'd you go to high school?
Science Hill High School, go Toppers!
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Oh, I went to university school in Johnson City.
You shut up.
Yep.
Are you
No, I
kidding
was,
me? Do you have, what is your brother's name? What is-
John.
John Shulman. Yes.
Yes.
I know him. I bet you know Lori Jane Sheehan.
Yes.
All of those girls ran with my sister.
Okay.
That whole crew.
It's a small world.
It is
Yeah.
a small world. I cannot believe that. That's
Well,
nuts.
welcome to the committee. We won't
Well,
we won't
thank you.
talk about Johnson City stories until later. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Now those people thought I might know the prison system.
Yeah. We'll talk later. Okay, Hallie, you're next. And is it Haley or Hallie?
It's Hallie. You have it.
Hallie.
You've said it correctly the whole time.
Okay. All right.
So I live in East Nashville, I think, District 6.
Okay.
I am a social worker. I graduated with my master's in this past May. And while I was in my program there, I learned a lot that I didn't know about the prison system. And I did a big project on how I felt like it could be improved. So I would really be interested in seeing what the recidivism rate is, and whether it's for, minor things like breaking probation, or, actually reoffending crimes.
All right. Right. Well, I'm glad you're on. Welcome aboard. We'll go back to some of that. I'm taking some notes as well. Mr. Gregory, you're next.
Heyo, my name's Al. My husband and I have lived in Nashville since 2015. I'm a Tennessee native, born and raised in Williamson County. Before we moved here, I served on the advisory board for the 21st Drug Court in Williamson County, and also was the former chairman of the board for the Franklin Housing Authority in Williamson County as well. My day job, or my paying job, as Jennifer said, is I'm the chief lending officer for Old Hickory Credit Union. And I've been in finance for 20 more years, I like to say, for 23 years. So happy to be on the committee. I'm very interested with my work on the drug court with recidivism rates, and seeing how we can break those cycles and break that down a little bit. And I'm just happy to be a part of it. This is my first entrance into Nashville civics or any type of thing like this, since I, as I like to say, retired from that kind of stuff in Williamson County. So I'm happy to be on this, and thanks for the opportunity.
Sure. Thanks for being a part of it. All right. So I know that we've got Adam on the phone, who's with the Tennessean. Roseanne Hayes is listed. She's with the council staff. Joyce McDaniel is helping run the Zoom call. And then we have one other number. It's a 571 number. So I'm not sure if that's somebody on the committee. Hopefully they'll unmute. So I'm just, and then I'm going to go back to Anna because she's the last person. So do we have anybody? So I've got Aiden. Is Aiden on the call, or Laura Ward, or Sandra? Okay, they may join on. So the last person I want to introduce is the main reason why we're here, and that's Anna Albescu. So Anna, I'm going to let you unmute and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then if you don't mind, explain how we came up with the issue, okay?
Sure. Hello, everyone. I'm Anna Albescu. I have been here in Nashville, Tennessee for 13 years. I've been here since 2007. I am a full-time student, and for money, I work in the grocery store business. I work at Trader Joe's. I'm not gonna tell you which one. You're just gonna have to find out for yourself. But yeah, I've been a Nashville local for 13 years now, and I've always been very passionate when it comes to, you know, social justice and trying to distribute equality and equity to communities that need it the most. And I really just found my opportunity. I honestly, this all kind of happened by accident. There was a council meeting where they were discussing the budget and whether they were going to increase MNPD funding, especially, you know, in lieu of how much COVID-19 was costing the city. And so I was arguing against giving them more money. And I presented my argument to the city council after several hundreds actually of unsuccessful attempts to get them on the phone. So I just decided to attend that meeting in person. Apparently that got some attention, which is cool. Thanks, guys. And here we are. And then I was invited to a couple of conversations in their training, and we got to ask questions and address some concerns. And really the main event that really sparked my interest about all of this was what, you know, Breonna Taylor and George Floyd. I am very aware, and I think most of us are aware, that police brutality has been an ongoing issue for decades. And now with the rise of technology, I think that our politicians and our public discourse has no choice but to discuss it now and to address it, because we can't shove things under the rug anymore. And so that kind of led to, you know, the creation of this committee. And I wanted to address recidivism rates. The thing is, why and where? And those were my main concerns, because I was not attending this meeting, but I had a conversation with Vice Mayor Shulman, and we were talking about how Martisha Johnson, she was talking about how it's the same people going inside of these jails. So if we can pinpoint who is staying in these jails and who is continuing to, you know, I guess, fill the pipeline, we can address direct problems and then come up with solutions to, you know, address those problems. And so, and the thing is, like, we can already we can already name a few, right? You know, poverty, low income, and, you know, and also mental health and mental illness. So those are issues that we can already address. And so, but the thing is, what I want is hard data, and I want I want hardcore data, and I want that data to be used to create legislation and create programs to address these issues, especially in Nashville, because as much you know, as much of a prosperous city as we are, it is unacceptable to have as high of a homeless population as we do. And every shot at life, everyone deserves a home and good food and a safe place to sleep. So and so basically, that is the goal of this committee. The goal is to obtain the hardcore data of who is coming in and out of our jails, why, not addressing, but like basically highlighting and pinpointing the exact issues, and then coming up with solutions, like hardcore actionable solutions to these problems. That is the goal of this committee.
Right. So Anna
if you all
had worked
have
on.
any questions,
Yeah. So
for me, please feel free.
Okay. So let me read you the question that is before the group. And then you can ask Anna if you have any questions about, you know, the particular aspects of it. But the question that we have been given the responsibility for is, how do we utilize or better utilize current data on individuals coming through the prison system to determine how future funding could be directed or redirected to help address the systemic needs of our communities? Again, how do we utilize or better utilize current data on individuals coming through the prison system to determine how future funding could be directed or redirected to help address the systemic needs of our communities. All right, everybody's got that. And I'll send this out to everybody to make sure you actually have it in front of you. All right, any questions for Anna before we get to the third part, which is basically based upon the question, what information, in order to address that, what do you want us to go get? So the other phone number on here is Elise Waller. She's also with the council staff. So Roseanne and Elise will help us try to pull down some of this information. So not only, as you heard Anna talking about, she wants some hardcore data to be able to determine this, but you may want to have some people come in and talk to you. And if you want, obviously the sheriff is probably somebody we should get on the call at some point. Anybody else, and you can change over time. I mean, this isn't like if you don't recommend it today, it's never going to happen. No. So it may build over time, but initially what I'd like for you to do is tell me what else, what do you want to know? In order to answer that question, what information do you want us to get for you? And then we're going to see if we can go get it. So you can just unplug and tell me. Hallie, do you have something?
Yeah, I think for this, it would be good to have both, like Anna said, hard data, but also some qualitative data. So I think talking to people, both family members, if possible, I don't know, family members who have been affected by the revolving door of going in and out of prison, and people themselves, if they're willing to talk to us about their experiences. And maybe those, yeah, I think people who are in it will play a big role too.
Okay. So are you talking about people who may have been through the jail system who might want to talk about
Yes.
their impact and okay, that's fine. Okay, I've got that. All
I
right.
think also the families of people who have been in and or out of the jail system as well.
Okay.
Am I correct, Hallie?
Yeah, because it doesn't just impact them, it also impacts their family. So it's a twofold. And then it impacts their children. So it's a generational, it's like the whole cycle thing.
All right. Just throw things at me. I'm just writing them down.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Let's say just someone,
Janine, and then I'll come back to Jennifer. Go ahead.
okay, someone in the community that works with those who are struggling with homelessness, because so often those folks are arrested for different reasons. So whether it's Rachel Hester at Room in the Inn, or someone, at Nashville Table, whatever the proper, somebody from that community that has that knowledge of what they see happen to their population that they serve.
We can do that. All right. Jennifer?
So can we get access to, I'm going to assume that the jail system collects some kind of demographic data. Do they also align that with what brought the person to the legal system in the first place, right? So thinking like what is the problem, right? So what's the percentage of drug offenses, and what type of drug offenses is the person identified as having an addiction issue when they are incarcerated? Do they then have access to treatment? Like, is that kind of stuff tracked? And data such as like coming from the school system, which actually is probably really interesting this year since we weren't really in school. So, are we having less, referrals to juvenile detention? But is there any form of data where you can, kind of track and see, like, if someone was identified at 16, like through a school resource officer, and is there any way to kind of track that movement? Like an ideal, like could we just like dump a bunch of data into a data analysis system? And and, you know, does it also include like what area of Davidson County? So we could maybe track like certain offenses are happening in certain areas of the county. And then speaking to the recidivism question, you know, are these folks coming back in because, you know, is it an addiction issue? Is it because now that they have a criminal record, they can't find housing, so they're homeless? They can't get a job because they have a felony, so they are homeless, so they get arrested for being homeless? Or, you know, is it like that kind of data to see if there's those different trends, because then that would help us to determine where money could be allocated, because it's cheaper to prevent or de-risk harm reduction strategies instead of splitting up families by incarceration. I know that was a lot. I can maybe come up with a list of data points that might be helpful, that I think might be worth looking into. Or if we can just say, like, give us all your demographic data, removing all of the specific identifying information to protect people.
Sure. Let me ask you a question, and then I'm going to go to Al. You mentioned particularly younger people. So you're talking about schools, and I think you mentioned like 16-year-olds. So you want us to try to go back and talk to juvenile court too. I don't know how much data they keep, but we could certainly go back to juvenile court and see if they have records of individuals and then match them up. So
yeah, I mean, if I could wave my magic wand, we'd have linear data back to kindergarten, because kindergartners get suspended too, right? Yeah. And there's probably not actually a legal way to track that, right? Because like then you'd have to use identifying information, which would not be appropriate at this time. But if we could get something, you know, I mean, people get assigned a number, right? You know, so are you 17654 when you're 16, and then you're 17654 if you get incarcerated as an adult too?
Right.
I don't know. So
I don't know. We can go back. We can certainly ask and try to find out what type of information that may flow and whether there actually is some consistency in the information that we get. So we'll take a look at that. Okay. Al, what you got?
Excuse the question if it comes off as dumb, but I'm curious. Does Nashville have a drug court? Is there?
Yeah, there is a drug court. Mm-hmm.
Okay, there is a drug court. I would like just to see, just backing up what Gene was saying, is that talking about room at the end, talking to members of the drug court to look at best practices and see what's worked and what hasn't worked. And then also if it's a possibility to maybe take either with a guest speaker or however that works out with some of our peer cities that are struggling with this kind of data as well and what to do with it.
Okay, got it. Okay. Anything else for right now? I will throw out that I know that you probably do want to, you'll need to hear from the sheriff, because they actually are trying to do something with this. So think about that. If there's anything in particular that anybody else you particularly want to hear from, we can do that. Obviously we have a new police chief. Anything else like that we can get. Tina,
can we get access from other? Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I think Tina raised her hand. Then I'll come back to you. Tina, have you got something?
Yes, we actually have, and I really hate to use this terminology, but a wealth of information just here on Stewart's Ferry, where we have the school for it's literally the last chance of kids who have come up through the court system as juveniles, and they're hitting 17, 18, and they're in the school. I cannot remember what the name of it is. I cannot remember for the.
Are you talking about one of the alternative learning centers?
Yeah, but it's the one that is more like a jail. It's got fencing around it. You'll see they escape, and there's helicopters. I also know that they're always looking for tutors and volunteers to help these kids. But the Department of Children's Services, they're contracted through them.
Okay, it's a DCS facility. Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
I think it might be a facility or with Core Civic. It's like tied with Core Civic, but it's not called Core Civic.
Well, Core Civic runs it, but it's a state of, we're one of three through the state. There's one in the east, there's here, and then there's one in the west. And I've been over there a couple of times. And the last time was to start volunteering. And then, of course, you know, C-19. Ugh. But so I haven't been able to start doing any of that. But it would be worth our time to maybe talk to some of the folks over there just to kind of see what is coming up and if they see any trends or anything like that. But they certainly would know what they were talking about.
Do you have access to like people in there? Like, or do you know them personally?
Well, I don't know them personally. I know who they are. I could definitely track them down. I could get to them. Let's say that I could get to them.
That is very valuable information. Like if they have data on like who that is, like that would be very valuable, especially in terms of prevention. That, yes, thank you. Yes, that would be amazing if we could get on that.
Okie doke. I will see what I can do and what I can find.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate you.
Jennifer, back to you. Jennifer, back to you.
So I was going to ask if we can get, I can't remember who mentioned it, the success stories, was that Al? Like if there's other states or jurisdictions or counties or whatever that have successfully reallocated funds, and that, so that, you know, something to back up what we're trying to do, but also why reinvent the wheel. I think some of it's probably just research we can do on our own, but maybe with, you know, because you all are with council, you might have access to some additional data that would not be available through articles online.
Okay. Al, you got something else?
Yes, sir. I wanted to add that in talking to other folks or other stakeholders in this issue, I think another good one that we probably need to have a conversation with because just from my experience with HUD, continuum of care funds that HUD sends out to housing authorities, that we probably would want to talk to the coordinator, the person over that at MDHA. And see what data points they're getting that they have to submit to the federal government to receive their funding. Because it's probably, it's, you know, we may be doing the same thing, but we may not be. And it may be just a good conversation to have with them.
Okay, we can do that. All right, anything else for now? We certainly got a pretty good list to start. Yeah, Morgan?
I'm curious about any information in regards to programs that might be happening within the jails, and if there are any. I know very little about what sort of programs are offered and the people who, or the prisoners who participate in those, and the success rate of any programs within those jails. Okay,
we can do that. Because I know there's some in different facilities, and obviously the sheriff can talk about what's going on at his facilities. So yeah, we can do that. Okay.
If I may add to that, if we could maybe put distinguishers between the programs that exist in county facilities versus state facilities, because I'm sure that there are differences in programs and also in terms of maybe quality as well. So if we could tack that onto the information or to the data, I think that would be good as well.
And who funds that? Like, where is that funding coming from? Either is that part of the budget of MNPD, or if it's coming from somewhere else, or where those funds come from?
Okay. And at some point, what we'll get to you is probably an overall budget. We'll just send that out to you and try to break it down so you can kind of see what we're talking about in terms of how much money is involved in different places. Okay. All right. Anything else for now?
I have a quick question. Are we talking about
there you go.
Prison or jail or both?
Well, so that's probably a good question. I'm not sure if how we distinguish that. So when we talked about the prison system, or I think what is our question? Our question used the prison system. I think we are talking about jail facilities. And because we're a metro government, we're talking about whatever in terms of incarceration would be within the county that we would be responsible for and we would be paying for. Okay. If that makes any sense. So obviously, we're not going to get into, we may touch on DCS, Department of Corrections, and how that relates. But if the question, the only thing that we have the ability to control from the Metro Council standpoint is the money that goes into the facilities that we would pay for, whether we're paying for, what are we paying for with the money that goes into paying for jails or prisons?
Do you have a list of the ones that you pay for?
I don't have it with me, but we can get it for you, which is something, it's almost as if maybe the first meeting may need to be just some basic understanding of what we're talking about in terms of a budget and what we pay for and where that goes and basically how our system works. And so if everybody's okay with that, that may be a beginning. Gene?
Yeah, I was gonna say that would be so helpful for you to identify which jails they are, the budget, and just maybe some teach us some things about the sheriff's role and the school, and just that would be good.
Okay. Everybody good with that? Okay. All right. Anything else for purposes of information you want? You may, obviously, after you go through the general overview, it may be that you go, well, wait a minute, we need this, and that we didn't even talk about. So that's fine. So this just gets us started, and we'll start working on putting together some of this information. But the first meeting will be basically maybe kind of a general overview. We'll get somebody to kind of explain what we've got financially and so forth, and what happens. And also, I think Morgan asked about programs that are operating within the facilities. I think we can probably do that at that first meeting too. Just a basic overview. Okay. All right. So let me, and obviously, if you think of something in the meantime, you can certainly just email me. I had asked Anna, because she was the one who came up with the question, to kind of help co-chair this thing. And then I'm happy to kind of direct it if you want, or you can just throw me off and somebody else can do it. Okay, I got enough things that I'm trying to run the council meetings is hard enough for me sometimes. But so we'll get started and then we'll figure out kind of where this whole thing goes. I have two questions for you all. One is, I know sometimes it's impossible to find a consistent meeting time for everyone. Is there a date that's better for everybody else and a time? Is it better we typically have them in the afternoon, later in the afternoon, but I know some of you work. Is there a better day? I mean, if we just kind of said we're going to meet, Thursdays at 5, and we can do it, every other week or something like that as we start into the new year. Is there, maybe I better do it this way. Is there a time that really doesn't work? I mean, I know people have different jobs and different things that they have to do. If we were to try to pick a time at like about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, does that seem okay? I'm kind of looking to see if anybody's saying no.
I'm good anytime. Wednesdays are the hardest for me.
Okay.
I have a 3 o'clock executive session on Monday afternoon, so that would be that. And by when the time that's over, I don't want to talk about anything else.
Okay, I got it. Okay. Yeah. So if we did it on Thursdays, if we started doing on Thursdays like at 5 o'clock, would that be okay? I know today is Wednesday, so Anna's giving me a thumbs up. Okay. Betsy's
as long as it's not we're looking at like every other week, and I will defer to everyone else's schedule, but Thursday is my running group and that's my sanity. But for this, I will sacrifice. But as long as it's not every week.
I think it would be every other Thursday.
Okay.
So you could run every other Thursday.
They can live without me. They'll survive. There might be some crying, but I think they'll be okay.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Okay. You can invite them. Okay, so we're looking at Thursdays at 5. We'll get a schedule out to you. Now, here's the last thing. I am so appreciative of you all being on here. But in order to really be successful, we're going to have to expand this group. We're going to need some other people. We need some diversity on it. And so what I would ask you, you don't have to do it now, but if you don't mind thinking of some folks that can be on this committee, and we're missing a couple of people, I know, but we need to expand a little bit. We need to have some people who can bring a different perspective into this thing. And so what I would like for you all to do, if you don't mind, is think through some other people that might be good to serve on this. We don't want to make it like, having 25 people would probably be difficult, then nobody would get to be heard. But we need some more people on this thing because we want a good, diverse cross-section of the city to talk about this. This is very important. I think Anna's done a really good job of getting this question right. And I think we want to make sure that we have a good conversation with lots of people to try to see if we can figure this thing out. Okay. So, Hallie, yeah.
Can we just, email organizations that are doing similar types of work and ask if anyone would like to be a part of it?
Yeah. So what we tried to do with this was we tried to get word out through council members and by talking about it. And, and you all found us some way and said you wanted to participate. So we'll reach out to some other groups as well. What I'm trying to do is make sure we keep it within around less than 20 people, so we don't make it too big so that nobody can communicate with each other. So we'll reach out to a couple of different groups, but what I'd really like for you all to do is think through it yourself. You can reach out to a group or so if you want. And then why don't you, if you think of somebody that would be really good, send it in, and then we'll kind of make sure that we don't get too big, but go ahead and start thinking of some folks. And I know we've got at least 3 other people we've got 3 other people that will be on this committee. So we've got around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12. We've got 12 people on the committee right now. So we have room for some more people. But we'll do a little bit of thinking, and then we'll kind of engage everybody and just kind of figure out what we've got. But think through it, and then let me know if you don't mind. Okay.
So do you want us just to email a name or 2 that we come up with to you? Is that the way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. And then we'll reach out. Okay. Is that okay with everybody? All right. All right. So, Anna, anything else as you're getting ready to go back to work?
Nothing as of right now. I just wanted to say thank you all so much for joining this committee. It was a pleasure meeting all of you, and I am so looking forward to working with all of you. And let's do this. Let's get this bread, guys.
All right. So there are a couple of people from Anna's class at Lipscomb that have said that they want to be helpful. And so we'll probably bring some of them in too. And I need to give you the list, Anna, to make sure that you know all these people. And, so anyway, so they will be helping us as well. But go ahead and start thinking about it. We will set up the next meeting for a Thursday at 5 o'clock in January. In the meantime, everybody be very, very safe. We know there's COVID numbers are really, really high right now. Be very, very careful. Have a wonderful holiday. Really be very, very safe as you enjoy the holiday season. And we will see you next year in 2021. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Joyce, Rosie, Elise, thank you. Adam, thanks for being on the call. And we will be back in touch very, very soon. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. Nice to